Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen normally joining me on the program. We will give him a pass for today because you know what? If there's a guy in this building that deserves a day off here and there, it's going to be Jeremiah Jensen. So we appreciate JJ doing all that extra work and then Sly coming in and doing all the extra work. So
getting on people's nerves. That's
what
I do at home every day.
Listen,
So
man,
yeah, it's great.
And it's the holidays. It's not easy necessarily to come in and jump on, and you're always game for it. And by the way, like having you on during these times to talk about these, and we used to call them New Year's Six games, right? I mean, now, like I said, we don't call them that. They're the college football playoff games, and you've got one tomorrow, and then you've got 4 on New Year's Day starting at 11 a.m. So we're just going to be absolutely blasted with a ton of football games that we've never seen before. Quarterfinal games in the college football playoff. It's nuts. All right, our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. And, of course, we're going to kick things off here with Connor Pay, of course, who's been joining us all season long as part of our Players Club. But Connor, nice enough to jump on after the bowl win, 36-14 over Colorado. Just like you guys drew it up, man. No one believed in you all year except for you guys, and that continued on Saturday, even during the game. If you were watching, I know that people hit you up on Twitter afterward, but congrats on that win, and congrats on showing everybody up, including the Heisman Trophy winner.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It was our pleasure.
All right, so let's talk a little bit. I always want to know what Kalani says in different situations. Tell me about that locker room and the celebration and the trophy and all that stuff. I want to know what his message was to you guys because it was your final game as a BYU Cougar, and there's so many guys who are in that same boat. But what was the message from Kalani as you guys went to 11-2 on the season? Real special year for you guys.
I mean, Kalani, he's a super humble guy. And so basically all he did is he just congratulated us and he thanked the team and thanked the guys for a great year and for buying in to the system. And, obviously during the press conference after and stuff, Tyler and I were able to have, some special moments with him. It's not final goodbyes yet. We'll go have our exit interviews with him and stuff, and we'll still be around the facility, when we're here before we leave to our NFL training facilities. But it was really just a message of gratitude. Which is pretty on par for him.
Yeah.
He was thankful for the team, and that's what his message was.
Yeah, man. I mean, Kalani was my coach at Utah, and he's like the nicest, most competitive guy ever.
Nicest, most competitive.
It's so weird because like it's hard to have those two like combined. Like you got to be an a-hole or you just got to be like ultra nice, and it's just like he's got a great mix of both. But like, so what's that been? One, the entire season, and then one. Alex was kind of asking me, what's it like leading up to the game when you got so much time? How does Kalani like handle that? How does he communicate with you guys? How did he get you guys in the positive mindset to be able to take on Colorado?
Well, he wants us to compartmentalize. It's the days leading up, to the bowl game. He's like, hey, this is the fun time. Like, you've earned the right to come to a bowl game and to have fun. Mm-hmm. So, like, come enjoy these days. He's like, and he's like, I need you guys when we have practice, when we go into that locker room. He's like, I need the mindset to shift into business mode. Kind of a work hard, play hard type thing. When we're there having fun, then he wants us to have fun. But when it's time to handle business, got to handle business like a professional. This is our job right now. And then, come Friday, he's like, okay, now it's time let's put the bowl festivities aside and treat this like a normal Friday, like we are going to, any other hotel for an away game, do your same film study, do all that stuff. And that's kind of was the approach he took, was like, look, you've earned the right to have fun, but let's focus on business when it's time to handle business.
So 180 yards on the ground for you guys, and LJ really, showing out. He was obviously a massive bright spot, and while they were sneaking in all the things they could say and compliment Colorado on, he was scoring touchdowns on them. So it's a weird thing to be able to watch that whole thing play out, and it's exactly the way you described. On defense, obviously Jay Hill had it dialed up. What was you guys' plan of attack against this Colorado team? Did you feel like you'd be able to run on them the entire game?
Yeah. That was kind of our plan going on because we knew they had really talented guys on the edges, out at corner. But they kind of run that prototypical NFL defense where there's kind of a true Mike Will and, wide techniques, wide threes, wide nines, and we felt like there were seams there. And, we were able to capitalize on that. That was the plan going in, was to run the ball and then take what they gave us in the passing game.
Awesome. What was that environment like at the Alamo Bowl? I know leading up to it, you had a lot more media attention than normal, probably more interviews. But just going to Colorado, I know you guys didn't go to Colorado this year, but Utah did. And me seeing that, I just felt like there was just so much stuff going on. But what was the environment like in that game? And then once the momentum shift and you guys were in the lead, dominating all that, what was the environment like at the Alamo Dome?
It was awesome. Dome environments feel a little different than outdoor stadiums, and the Alamo Dome is big. I don't think, some people don't realize how many people it can actually hold for football games. They know it can hold a ton for basketball games, but there were 65,000 people in there, and it was loud and it was a ton of fun. And obviously, Colorado does draw a lot of media attention. And so there were tons of media members. Like we go out for pregame and, there's media up and down the sidelines, which is more so than normal for us. And, it was exciting. And it was exciting to look at them all standing on the Colorado side every time we scored and be like, yeah, you're on the wrong side.
Connor Pay joins us here on JJ and Alex as we break down how that game went for BYU. You end the season on with an 11-2 record. And to be able to go into that offseason now, what does that preparation look like? So, and who's getting in your ear? Like, are you doing what does the transition in college look like now to the pros? Because you could have an agent before, but I don't know if you even went down that route. How do you shift from the collegiate mindset now into the business aspect of what the NFL is going to look like for you?
Well, it's kind of been – I'm fortunate enough to have a dad who played in the NFL, and so he's been a big help on kind of just telling me what it's going to be like in that transition. But I've been getting recruited by agents for the better part of 2.5, 3 years now, and so kind of becoming pretty comfortable with it and, kind of picked my agent a couple weeks ago, the agency that I wanted to work with, and now that the season's over, I can officially sign with them, which is nice, and we can kind of dive full-fledged into prep for the NFL, and my agency's been really good about it. They said, look, we'll handle everything behind the scenes. You just go focus on playing well these last few games. And so they made it really easy on me. But now that it's all over, now it's, take a few days now, let my body recover because I have to get into, training shape now instead of playing shape, which is two
so
very different things.
Yes.
And, because it's like if I tried to transition today into going and training for a combine, it would be really hard on my body just because of, everything it's gone through the last 6 months. And so for at least this first week or so, it's going to be a lot of, recovery lifts, a lot of time spent in the training room and stuff, just fixing my body so that then when I do head to Atlanta where I'll be training, then I can hit it full-fledged, my body feels good, and I can go and prepare to put up the best numbers that I can at the Combine and Pro Day.
Well, Connor, Talk to us a little bit. Kind of almost, I really don't want you to do it, but I do at the same time. Kind of a BYU semi-pitch, right? Kind of sum up, the season, Kalani, the school, the environment over there, what you've been through, and kind of what you appreciated so much about, the BYU program.
You can, and this is your platform to steal people out of the transfer portal when the spring opens.
Calm down. I just want to hear. I just got to get some insider scoop. That's what I want.
Well, we're doing just fine in the portal right now. Taking some guys from up north. So, I think we just got Tanavasa today, which is exciting. So sorry about that. Yeah. But no, I think for me, I view it just kind of three different sides for me. There's football, there's academics, and then there's just your social life. And obviously it's well known, BYU top-notch academics. It's going to be difficult, but a degree from BYU is extremely valuable in life after football because, only 1.5% or whatever of college athletes play professionally, right? So the other 99%, they move on with life. And especially in the business school, which is what I did. I graduated from the Marriott School of Business. You won't find a better network. There's a lot of great business schools in the country. They can all teach you business. But what really makes BYU special is the network and the alumni that come back to teach as adjunct professors and come back to mentor. It's very unique in that aspect. Then from a football perspective, obviously Kalani's culture is starting to take form. He's been trying to push it since he became head coach. But this culture of love and learn, and belief, it's love will take you a lot farther than fear ever will. Right. And a lot of other programs in the country, are operated on the fear of consequences, right? That's their form of accountability, which can take you a certain way, but it can only take you so far. Love for your team and for your teammates, that'll take you much farther, right? Being willing to push yourself harder in the off season, not because you're afraid, that you're going to be punished if you don't, but because you love your teammates so much that you want to prepare the best way you can to help them be successful. And so they can turn to you and look at how hard you've worked, and they know that in a game scenario, they can trust you.
Right.
That'll take you so much farther. The hard part is that genuine love for your teammates is really hard to manufacture. And I think that's what we were able to do this year. There was a genuine desire to be better for your teammates. And that started all the way back in January, and there was an intensity about it. And that's one of the unique things about coming to BYU. I don't think there's very many other programs in the country that are built that way. And we're finally seeing what that can do. And we've only seen really 1 year of it right now with true buy-in to that culture. And, I hope the younger leaders on the team can kind of take what we've done this year and build on it, and that culture can continue to grow, because I think it's going to build a fantastic program, not just one great team, but a great program. I think that's where BYU's headed right now. That's where BYU football is headed, to be a national contender year in and year out, and we were very close to being that this year. We made a couple mistakes, but it's a great season to build off of. Yeah. And so that's my pitch on the football side, for recruits that want to come, and we can see it in the transfer portal. Big time guys want to come and be a part of that, because you can feel it.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, because I'm like, I know these kids nowadays are afraid of hard work, so they're not going to go to BYU.
Oh, wow.
So
look at that.
It's perfect. Thanks.
Okay.
They're not afraid of hard work. They're afraid of getting screamed at and told they're terrible instead of saying, hey, no, you need to do this and you need to work harder for the betterment of someone else, not because you're a terrible human being.
And you can bail. I look at a guy like Gary Bohannon, right, where you go, because that guy, he went in and it was a legitimate quarterback battle, and you snapped the ball to a lot of dudes, and I'm sure Gary was not real happy about that throw that he had on Saturday, but how important was it for him to get in that game and for you guys to see him in there and because I know that he has been, and you even told us, I think, during one of our conversations this year, is like, no, of all the guys in the locker room, like that is a true leader, a guy that people look to that you wouldn't necessarily think that much about in terms of the X factor.
Yeah.
But I saw that, and I saw what Jake did, and I know that you have a ton of respect for those guys. And so talk a little bit about your quarterbacks from this year, and maybe talk about a little bit, too, what the projection could be for Jake Retzlaff, who could be going into next season, now with 11 wins this year under his belt and so many of them in the Big 12, he's just got a bright future.
No, he definitely does. And I think, when I think about Gary, I think that he epitomizes what BYU football's culture is all about. And because he had every reason to be upset and be a cancer in the locker room and to just be angry about his situation, and he didn't do that at all. He supported Jake 100%, pushed him in practice. He was a huge vocal leader when he felt like practices were slipping and we weren't being as detail-oriented as we were supposed to be, or not practicing as hard as we were supposed to be. He was extremely vocal. And so we were all really excited. I mean, you could see the way the guys reacted when he almost had that touchdown run.
Right.
And I wish we would have given it to him one more time on the 1 yard line there. And that's too bad. That 2 quarterback package was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We were installing that during bowl practices, and I was like, man, why haven't we been doing this the whole year?
It seems very A-Rod, right? It seems like
this is sick.
It's just my gosh.
Yeah, because Gary can throw, but he's also 240.
Right.
And he's fast. He's a running back.
Yeah. Well,
it would have been cool, but I'm glad we put it in.
What happened when Matava Taase drops that perfectly thrown ball by Parker Kingston? There were a lot of smiles on the sideline, but I'll tell you, I thought, oh, these guys are absolutely giving it to this dude.
Oh yeah, we were clowning him so hard because he blocked so much. And then it's like, bro, we called your play. That play is for you, and you blew it.
He had this wild, insane layout catch for a touchdown against SMU. You remember that one?
Yeah.
And what'd that go?
Yeah,
What's that guy?
His ribs, snags that ball. I'm like, dude, we're like, Tom, what are you doing? Hit it right in the hands. Spend too much time, grabbing the snacks in the hospitality room with slippery fingers.
Oh my gosh!
No,
See,
of course.
This is the stuff.
I mean, we all wanted him to catch it because Tava's another guy that has been crucial for the success of our team, especially in the run game, and he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. And so we all wanted him to catch that ball, so he could get some. But of course, we were teasing him.
You guys go into the offseason now, and obviously you're moving on to a different space. And, as this team gets ready to reload again, how's the culture? You say it's finally kind of taken shape. I mean, we're talking year 10 of Kalani, and it's, finally taking shape. But what does this team have to do to be able to maintain this? Because now no one's fooled. They know what they have with BYU. They know that it's a legitimate talent, university, and people are starting to realize that. So what is it now to maintain that? Because that seems, ask the Oklahoma States and the Utahs of the world how difficult it is to keep that thing going.
Well, I think, and please don't take this as a personal shot.
Sly, this is for you though.
No, but I think the media is poison, right? And in either direction, we thought it was all BS when everybody was saying how crappy we were at the start of the season. Now everyone's going to talk about how talented we are. That's BS too. You got to go earn it the exact same way. And so I think that's going to be the challenge for this team is it's easy to be motivated to work hard when everyone's telling you how terrible you are.
Right.
it's a lot more difficult to work in that same way when everyone's telling you how great you're going to be.
Yep.
And I mean, obviously I'm not in that program, but it feels like that's a little bit of what happened to Utah and Oklahoma State this year a little bit. Right? It's like they had everyone all off season long telling them how great they were going to be.
You can't see it. You can't see it, Connor. You can't see it, but Sly was pointing up on the hill when you were making that point.
Before you even said Utah.
Before you said Utah.
But, you know, and I mean, you know, it's natural for that to happen, you know, but greatness is not natural, right? You have to fight those natural instincts, I think, and because it's so easy to just get, even if it's just the slightest bit complacent, like college football teams are so talented now, the margins are so thin. Like honestly, it's like if I were to tell you the difference between our 5-7 team last year and 11-2 team this year, it's finite details. And it's like you can't let even the smallest detail slip. And so the challenge for this team and this group of leaders is going to be, how do you keep the guys motivated and dedicated to the details like we were this last off season and the process. Don't think about the result. You know, you can have that goal of a Big 12 championship next year and use the fact that we didn't get there as fuel for the fire and didn't go to the playoff and all that stuff. Use it as fuel for the fire too, but the process of how you actually get there is what they need to focus on every day and keep the team focused on. All right, you know, keep your eyes 6 inches in front of you, right? Like it's how do you dominate the moment you're in right now? And then everything else in the future will take care of itself, I think, if you do that. So, in my opinion, that's the challenge for this team.
Connor Pay. Connor, thanks for always being willing to come on with us and chat, and we're looking forward to you cutting that 40 time as you get ready for the NFL Combine and or Pro Day, all those things. Let's get the 225 reps going. Let's get the 40 time down. Let's get you in training shape, not football shape, man. Let's get it going. Yeah. We're excited for you. We're super pumped for your future, and we're looking forward to it, man.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure coming on with you guys, even if for my last one you sent me on with some youth. That's fine. It's been a pleasure. No, I'm just teasing. It's a pleasure talking to you guys, man. Thanks for letting me come on.
As always. All right, there you go. All right, there's Connor Pay, everybody.
He's so right, man. I mean, and that's what I wanted to hear is like just Kalani and just what I know about him from just from my experience with him and how he's being able to. And I mean, I've heard us just like when he was first there, there were some reins put on him. Yeah. And so, yeah, even 9-10 years in now, it's finally starting to settle in and they're letting him do his thing. And Kalani's just surrounded himself with so many of his guys, like-minded guys, and I just think it's radiating through that university. So good for him. I hate it for the university because I don't want to see them do that great. But but anytime I can get Kalani and Jay Hill and my old Utah guys, Aaron Roderick, to do well, man, I'm happy for them.
Anytime I can be called poison during an interview, I'll take it.
He wasn't wrong. We were talking about it. It's
I know.
Media, like you can control whatever.
The questions that were being asked to Arizona State, and then like afterward be like, I can't believe what Cam Scatterboo said, man. And you're like, you basically wrung this answer out of him.
Yeah,
you were like,
you wanted this. You wanted him to say this so you could make it the headline.
You know what?
And why would an athlete say anything else?
No, I know. No, I think we're a really good team. How dare you?
Baloney.
You think you're better than this Texas team, though? Yeah, that's why we're here. He thinks he's better than you, Texas. What do you say? Signed X. Signed social media. All right.
Let's make this more interesting.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. We appreciate Connor coming on, and it's just fun to watch these guys. I was thinking about all the quarterbacks he snapped to. My goodness. He's had a long list of quarterbacks that he's played with at BYU, so an illustrious career from the man. So there you go. We'll take the break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. We have our NFL Blitz coming up in just a little bit. We'll jump in, of course, and talk about all the things. I've got a Mike Tomlin quote for a former Mike Tomlin player in Stevenson Sylvester. I'm going to ask him if it's on brand, okay, for what he knew Coach Mike Tomlin to be. So stay right here with us. This portion of the show brought to you by An incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. Visit those Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork and now in Linden. We'll be back. More to go. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, you know what that music means. By the way, I know the NFL was all pumped about those Sunday or the Christmas Day football games.
Are they?
Oh yeah, I mean it was like
The players, or are you talking about?
No, the NFL.
Yeah, okay.
And Netflix especially, right?
Oh yeah. Netflix
I
paid
didn't
a pretty penny.
I
for
didn't
that.
love them this year. Those weren't.
It's only 2 games, right?
Yeah, only 2 games. They're both on Christmas Day.
They're both blowouts.
They were neither of them were good.
They were expected to be good though.
What was the second game even? 31-2. That's right. Gosh. My son asked me this question, and he goes, has anybody ever gotten 4? And I was like,
That's a great question.
That's a really good question. I've seen 5 for sure before.
I would think in the 80s or 70s.
That's what I said. I go,
it
it had to have happened. Somebody had to. Hey, Alex, let's get on our research department and see if there was ever a 4-point scored in
Night Train
in a game.
Lane had to have had 2 safeties. Clotheslining people.
That's legal. Boy, you love football, don't you?
Him and Dwight Clark.
He's just hitting guys upside the head, man. All right. If you know what DJ and PK gave out as their Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealer Play of the Week, you've got a $20 Amazon gift card that's going to go toward. Can that pay down your Christmas credit card debt too? Why not? You can use it. Did you find a 4-point game somewhere? Post-merger, nothing. Okay. Oh, 1929, the Cardinals versus. I mean, at that point, they were the Chicago Cardinals, probably. The Racing Legion.
Oh, gosh.
Wasn't Racing one of the teams in League of Their Own? In the women's Major League Baseball situation? Yeah, the Racing. The Chicago Cardinals. What was the final? Please tell me it was 4-0 or 4-2. I don't know.
4-9.
I think it'd be just as difficult to get to a 4-point game than to be Georgia Tech. It was 10-4. All right, well there you go.
That was close.
We got to get a 4-point game in the NFL. That's my next goal.
I do not want to see that. I love defense. I love
two
defense.
is already weird
but
enough.
I do not want to see that.
Yeah, 2 is already weird enough. So there you go. If you give us a call right now and you can give us what the play of the weekend was from DJ and PK, we've got you here for a $20 gift card to Amazon. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-9663. And the winner gets themselves a nice little gift card. And that's courtesy of the folks at the Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers. All right, so Mike Tomlin was asked, hey, first he was asked about the losing streak that they're on right now. And, this is a team who's probably they're bound for the playoffs. He was asked about if the Ravens clinch the division tonight, will he rest his starters? Mike Tomlin was asked that question. How do you think that?
Can we get the video? I want to see his face though, because that's the
Just
funny part.
absolutely.
What he says is different than his face too, because it's the combination.
I know, because he's gotten way better. But this is such a Mike Tomlin quote. I'm going to be honest. I haven't pondered that at all, to be quite honest with you. That might be a thought for somebody else on a different week. But as I mentioned, this is a significant game. How are we going to this tournament? So I doubt I'll be in that mentality that you mentioned.
That you mentioned. Make sure it didn't come from me. You mentioned that.
Well, and we were talking before the show. It's like, guess what? The last thing you want to have happen, the last thing you want to do if you're Mike Tomlin is sit your starters who've been playing like crap, by the way.
Right. Russell Wilson has not played
played sharp. So you've got to log some good football hours. Like that's what we're looking at now. If you're the Steelers, like if you're going to go into the playoffs, and you mentioned it too, you were like, look, you got to figure out some strategy on going into the playoffs because there are some games you don't want to. There are some guys you don't want to face. There's some teams you don't want to face, and the Ravens are probably one of them. So clinch the division, have all the fun you want. We'll see you in the AFC Championship game if we can get there,
right,
or the week before that.
You don't see that. I mean, now, there's not two teams with two byes. There's only one team that gets a bye, extra team in the playoffs, which I actually like that strategy. I like that people playing. It's different. Some teams need rest, and some teams don't. Right, you get a little rusty with a week of rest,
right?
And coming off bowl games or bye weeks, sorry, not bowl games, coming off bye weeks, et cetera, et cetera. But some teams need it. You need rhythm. You need chemistry going in, whatever that may be. Now, winning this last game isn't as important. I know it's more important for the Cincinnati Bengals, but. I think there's nothing more that Mike Tomlin loves than making sure his division opponents understand who's on top. Right?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
And so if there's any chance that Mike Tomlin has to stick it to the Cincinnati Bengals, he's going to do it.
Absolutely. The Lions and the Vikings, this is the best. When a game actually determines who the number one seed is going to be for that first round bye, that is awesome. And the Lions and the Vikings, go back 10 years and tell me that the Lions and the Vikings are going to be playing for the number one seed or go back 5 years, that the Lions and the Vikings, go back 2 years ago just for the fact that the Vikings now have Sam Darnold as their guy. You know what I mean? And the Lions are a really, really good football team.
You got rid of Kirk Cousins, right? And you're like, where are they going to go
watch what he's doing.
this?
Watch what he's doing.
J.J. McCarthy tears his hamstring or whatever he tore in training camp. The next thing you know, they only lost 2 games this entire season. That's crazy. And I think it's going to be a terrific game next Sunday night.
Andy Reid is not ready to reveal the Chiefs starters or whether or not the Chiefs starters are going to play on Sunday. I mean, if you're them and you only have 1 loss on the season and you can coast, if you can do it, if you can sit your guys.
They already got a first-round bye, though. So it's
that's
just
what I'm saying.
How much is too much rest?
Okay. Oh, no, that's a good point because I remember when the Cowboys got the number 1 seed? And it felt like they sat around forever, and then the
looked like crap.
The
Packers.
fire up Packers with Aaron Rodgers come into.
Was it the Packers? Was it Jordan Love or was it the
Packers?
No,
it was Aaron Rodgers. It was Aaron Rodgers, because it was like 5 years ago or 4 or 5 years ago. But he blew them up,
right?
And that Cowboys team did exactly what we thought that Cowboys team would do, which was have an amazing regular season and then get to the playoffs and have no idea what to do. So
normal.
Some things never change.
Normal.
All right, some of the guys on the list of locals who had awesome weekends. Puka Nacua had 10 catches for 129 yards in that win that they had over the Cardinals. Devin Lloyd was his first pick of the season for the Jaguars. Jordan Love goes 19 for 30, 185 yards and a touchdown in Minnesota in that loss. Boy, they made a game out of it, though, at the end, didn't they? That was fun.
NFC North, man.
Nothing to mess with.
Except for if you go to Chicago and you mess with the Bears.
Oh, man. I always think about you when this is a terrible thing to say. I always think about you when I see Caleb Williams on TV.
Right, crybaby.
No, because you're like, that was the face he had every time he played Utah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the face that he had. And not just playing Utah, but losing games. He would just do this pouty McPouts.
What are you doing, dude?
I hated it. All right.
I really want to go back and understand how many games he's lost in his life, because it's just like Trevor Lawrence was a guy who, until he got to the Jaguars, has only lost 2 games his entire life.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you got guys like Tyler Batty for BYU who won 2 games in high school at Pacey. Right. He's like, no, I didn't try to make a habit out of it, but man. All right.
Yeah. It's just
crazy.
we
got to take a break. We'll come back. I have the list, by the way, from Connor. Connor just sent me all the quarterbacks that snapped to him in his career. So it's a long list.
Read that off.
He was there for a long time. So we'll talk about that. And we've got our Jazz Daily also, as the Jazz are going to be facing off tonight against the Denver Nuggets at home. So we'll come back. More to go. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
You know what's coming.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time!
All season long and even in the off season. It's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, this is the John Tesh that rocks. This is the one that rocks out. Hardcore John Tesh. You didn't know we had him. I did get the text from Connor Pay about the guys that were his quarterback. We made him older than he is. We're like, I think he's 28 and a half. I think you were doing that as a joke. To dog on my BYU guys, but I get it.
No.
Zach Wilson, Baylor Romney, Jaron Hall, Jacob Conover. There's a blast of the past. Keaton Slovis, Jake Retzlaff, and Gary Bohannon. That's 7 guys who Connor Pay has snapped to in his career. That's a pretty long list. It's like the Cleveland Browns over here. Only that would be in one season for the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
Was it 32 in like 28 seasons or something like that?
It's been so bad. It's been so because it was bad when I was there.
I know they just kept, it was a revolving door, man.
I mean, I never played at Cleveland,
but they have it all figured out now, so we're good. Shh. Right. They restructured that deal, by the way, with Deshaun.
Yeah, what if Deion doesn't let him go to Cleveland and doesn't let Shador go to Cleveland?
Ooh.
That would be funny.
I still think there's going to be a way that a franchise can work it, and if it's going to be.
Hey, there's a way to work it. This is why Deion says that, because he knows how it works.
If you get Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders to one team,
I don't know if that's
need?
possible.
What do you need? What if you get Coach Prime, Shador, and Travis Hunter all at the Raiders at some point? Come on.
At some point, I think that can happen.
All right.
A Tom Brady, Raiders are putting together powerful back end things where they can make those conversations.
Yeah.
But, does people hate the Raiders enough is all it is.
But Mark Davis has thought about it.
Oh,
if he hasn't thought about it, then he's dumb. I'm just saying.
He hasn't thought about a new haircut.
He's spending
so
all
why
this,
would he think about?
Because he's doing all the big brain stuff. It's to cover up his. You can't cover up that huge brain of his.
I bet he's so funny. I bet he's freaking.
That's how he gets the ladies. No, it's not. It's not the comedic talent. It's the
not
money.
his wallet. It's his. It's his personality.
Fine.
He said
it. Utah Jazz taking on the Denver Nuggets tonight. A close one the other night against the 76ers, 114-111. They took that loss, but you're seeing a lot of young guys logging a lot of really, really good minutes for this team. And dudes like Bryce Sensabaugh who are having good nights. Walker Kessler is developing, and I know that everybody's got to be patient with this team, but the Denver Nuggets, who have not been the Denver Nuggets World Championship team that we knew from a couple of years ago, they've been struggling a little bit. They come into Delta Center tonight, so you'll get that, but you also get Hockey Club coming up here in just a few minutes as well. But you got the Utah Jazz firing it up against the Denver Nuggets. I don't know if I'm trying to figure out if Joel Embiid is actually going to play. He's listed as questionable, so do we? I don't know if we got a recent injury update. Oh, sorry, not Embiid. I'm looking at so Embiid ended up playing on Saturday. Did not get thrown out of the game, which I thought was nice.
Just don't get him against lady refs.
You're right, but I'm interested. I'm telling you, he's something else. And to have, he's still questionable. Okay, all right. So we'll be firing this one up. You can be able to hear both of them right here on the KSL Sports Zone as well. But the Hockey Club, of course, going to be up in Seattle taking on the Kraken, looking to keep that 7-game win streak on the road alive, which sounds wild. Can't win a game at home over the last 3, but they're getting that done up in Seattle tonight. All right, so for Sly, Alex, our producer, we'll be back again tomorrow. It is 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.